morning and welcome to Our Issues Milwaukee. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. Our focus this morning is on domestic violence. According to the Mayo Clinic, domestic violence occurs between people in an intimate relationship. It can take on many forms, including emotional, sexual, and physical, as well as threats of abuse. Domestic violence does not discriminate. It can happen in a heterosexual or same-sex relationship. My first guest represents the largest nonprofit provider of domestic violence prevention and intervention in Wisconsin. It's a pleasure to be joined by Carmen Pitre, who serves as the president and CEO of the Sojourner Family Peace Center. How are you, Carmen?
Hi, and it's really nice to be with you. I'm honored to be here. I'm good.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. There's been a lot going on in our world, and I think everyone watching knows exactly what I'm talking about. The pandemic has just taken us in all kinds of directions, but it also has kind of set up a situation where people who are already in dangerous scenarios or relationships have really had to succumb to being with their abusers, especially when we were under the stay-at-home order, right?
Absolutely. I think COVID-19 has made life hard for all of us, but it's made it that much harder for people who are trapped in violent situations, who are being hurt by others who are in relationship with them. So, created extreme isolation and fear and uncertainty, surely for all of us, but especially for women and men who are living in violence, and children as well. It's kind of created this unthinkable circumstance where you have to be for safety is the one place where you're being hurt.
Wow, that is really something to think about. And it's a blessing because the Peace Center has been able to still support people who need the shelter during hard times in their life in the midst of the pandemic, right?
Right. We made the decision to continue to operate the shelter. We had to reduce our census. One of the changes we had to make was we went from 53 beds to 43 in order to accommodate social distancing requirements. We had to make some big structural changes in the shelter around how people are fed, how we house, how we have some of our common areas had to, our furniture, for instance, we took out 50% of our furniture and moved it off site. But we're able to house people safely. We have 43 women and kids and men who live with us on any given night, who are no longer in violent circumstances. The other decision we made, and we've not had an outbreak in shelter, we've increased our cleaning, incorporated mask mandates and social distancing protocols, and have been able to manage with so many people living in one area. We also made the decision to keep the Family Peace Center open and not shut down the building, because we wanted people in the community. If you're trapped in a violent relationship, you need hope. You need to be able to believe that there's a place you can go to when you're ready and able. And so we've kept the Peace Center open until 7 in the evening every day, Monday through Friday, out of sort of symbolism. We wanted it to be a beacon for people who needed safety and safe harbor.
It's amazing and such a blessing that you've been able to maintain those things under these circumstances, because I've heard it said that, domestic violence is a pandemic within a pandemic.
It is. It's a crisis within a crisis. And what it's done for people, as I said, is it's created extreme isolation and fear, whereas a survivor before might have a respite when you go to work or church, or when you would have been allowed to do something outside of the home. But domestic violence is all about control. And so those avenues of connection to other people are no longer available under COVID, right? So people are having to work at home, for instance. They're having to be in the very place where they're being hurt. It also has closed off opportunities for people to reach out for help, and created this extreme fear about what the future might look like for you. A lot of people lost their jobs in this country. A lot of people don't know what the future will look like. Where will I live? And if you're living in fear, getting out of violence is that much harder. If you cannot imagine how you're going to provide for your basic needs, the idea of getting out of violence may be what you think you need to do, but you can't figure out how to do it because everything is so uncertain. And that's the circumstances that COVID has created for survivors of domestic violence. Yet still, people are resilient. People are still coming to shelter. It is incredible to see the strength and resiliency of people.
Yeah, and you brought up a very good point. When sometimes someone's in a situation, they may maybe saving money somehow so they can move, and get to a better situation. But then with the circumstances of unemployment within COVID-19, then people feel like they're stuck because they're unable to even obtain money to save to get out of their situation. But that's where the Family Peace Center comes in. You are able to provide those resources and help individuals in so many different ways and on so many different levels. So I definitely want to talk about some of those programs and services. But first, I would like for you to really help us understand what some of the signs of abusive relationship can be, because some people always envision that it's someone putting their hands on you, but it can be in so many other ways: verbal, emotional, whatever the case.
I think of violence as a continuum. It can be subtle or severe, right? And we tend to think of domestic violence as severe. And of course, any unexplained injuries or frequency of injuries that a person has that what they're saying and the injury itself don't match. So unexplained injuries. Before COVID, unexplained absences, high anxiety, extreme isolation, or not being allowed to associate with family and friends in the way that they were before. Controlling and jealous and possessive behavior are signs that you should be looking for in relationships. Anxiety around having to get back to the relationship, obsessive texting and phone calling. If you're with a friend and the partner won't stop calling or demanding certain behavior from that person, could be a sign of control and problems in that relationship. So domestic violence is, in the core of it, about control and power over another person. And it can be subtle, severe. It can include name calling to punching, slapping, spitting, pushing you downstairs, or manipulating you and controlling the income and who you see and what you wear and where you go.
Wow. And we've always heard the saying, love is not supposed to hurt. So even if it hurts your feelings, right? So if someone witnesses any of those things that you just mentioned, and they want to help someone, what can they do to help someone that they maybe work with, or maybe it's a family member or a friend for that matter?
Well, I'm a firm believer in love and hope as things we should aim for. So try to figure out a loving and kind way to talk to the person that you're afraid for, and let them know that you see and hear them and that you're a safe resource for them. If you have judgments about what the person doing, keep those to yourself, navigate those with someone else, call an advocate to help you. On our website, familypeacecenter.org, is a family and friends brochure that'll walk you through things you can do to become a safe resource for survivors who are looking for help.
All right. Those programs and services that I mentioned, you have a long list, but just to go over a few of those, you have the Sojourner Family Peace Center restraining courthouse advocacy, where if someone needs to get a restraining order, you can help them go through the steps and the process of getting that done.
Yes, we can. We were located, and we still are, on the 7th floor of the courthouse. We've been there since 1985, but we've had to go remote. So anyone needing a legal order of protection should call our 278-7059 number, or call our 276-1911 number. An advocate will connect with you and help you file for your order online. So that program has gone remote.
And something I think is very important to mention, because people love their pets, and sometimes they feel like they can't leave their pet behind. So you have a partnership with the Wisconsin Humane Society that allows that pet to be in a safe place until an individual can get things figured out, get on their feet, whatever the case may be, and they don't have to worry about that abuser also doing something to the animal.
Yeah, that program is our Safe Haven program, and we realize that pets are unconditional sources of love for people, and a lot of our survivors would not or could not leave unless they knew that their pets were safe. So we're very excited. For years now, we've been working with the Humane Society. We have little foster families that take in the pets for our survivors, and then they get reunited. And it's great comfort for survivors to know they can get help and their pets are safe and not vulnerable.
That's so important. And then you have the Hope and Healing program, which hope and healing and love is something that you've mentioned quite a few times during this conversation.
Right. The Hope and Healing program, people come to us in a time in crisis, but pretty quickly after that, maybe a couple of weeks or a month or two later, they start to think about what their life might look like moving forward. And this is a program that helps them think about their education, their financial means, their employment, support, around their well-being. It's looking at what are the things that you need in your life to create a different path for yourself and for your children.
All right. And before we run out of time, you have this very touching and powerful campaign. I came across it and I thought, wow, now this is something special. It's hashtag Until She Can. Tell us more about this project.
It's a phenomenal project that we've done with Serve Marketing. It highlights the voices of survivors. So what you see in the ads and what you hear are actually survivor stories. So there's a video, social media component, billboards, bus stops. The campaign is designed to raise awareness and get engagement from everybody in the community. We want to spark some critical conversations because survivors are our sisters, our brothers, our aunts, our mothers, our coworkers, our fellow church goers, and we need to engage with each other to turn the tide of violence around in our families.
Yeah, and you use some very familiar faces from our area in order to help get those stories out. And there are ways that people who are watching can get in on the concept of this and help spread the message and the stories, whatever the case may be. It's hashtag Until She Can. And Carmen, as we wrap up, I definitely want our viewers at home to get an idea of just how powerful this campaign is. So thank you so much for joining us as always and giving us very important information that people can retain and help others or help themselves if they need to. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Carmen Pitre is the president and CEO of the Sojourner Family Peace Center. For more information, visit their website at familycenter.org. And keep in mind, they do have a 24-hour domestic violence hotline, 414-933-2722. When we return to Our Issues Milwaukee, we'll continue our discussion about domestic violence. We'll meet a local woman who's not only a survivor, but she's the founder and CEO of an organization that empowers other survivors of domestic violence while providing comprehensive services to individuals and their families. We'll meet Sandy Smith from Survivors Journey to Peace right after this.
It's a tale we know too well. She thinks she's found the one. He promises to be her better half, then beats her half to death. You see, a prince isn't so charming when he's harming with his words, or gripping with his hands, or calling all the shots, shooting holes in all her plans. Each day is roulette on her lips. Kiss or fist? Wait to see which one will hit, yet there she sits. She may not have the words, so listen to her eyes, because there a story lies of a man who was dishonest, who broke every single promise, and sometimes arms and eye sockets. But you see, she is strong. Her soul is mighty. And yes, she is worthy. So for her, we are fighting. Maybe she can't see it. Maybe she can't be it, the one to share her story, to stop saying sorry. But we will. Until she can speak without her voice shaking, we will shout her story. Until there's no mistaking her strength, we will lift her up. Until she no longer hides her face, we will give her time, be her safe place. We'll keep watch, we'll stand on guard, we'll help her rebuild her heart, and we will not rest until she can.